All right.
Yes, man.
Back with the catch-up show.
Yeah, man. It's been a minute. Sorry about that.
What's going down?
Not nothing. How you doing, man?
Pretty good.
That's what I wanted to hear.
There's
There's D.
Merker.
Merry Christmas. Unless you don't like talking about Wildfire Ridge, in which case, it's an off-camera joke that I will not finish, I promise. Monetize.
Get the gist.
You don't want to demonetize the program by saying...
Oh, God. That's, I'm Jared, by the way.
I'm Josh, man. Good to be here.
One of the, talking about that, it's one of the last things that hit YouTube that everybody was all freaked out about was the COPPA, Kona, whatever the hell...
whatever the hell
ruling that came down where all these guys on the toy channels like, what are we gonna do? What are we gonna do? The long and short of it, how the gist of it is, there was this ruling that came down from on high.
On high. That's what I was thinking too.
To YouTube, where supposedly they were hit with this multi-million-dollar lawsuit from this some mother, unnamed, nobody can find this person, which heightens my, conspiracy theories, is this mother made a complaint to YouTube that her son, who watches these toy videos, was being marketed to, and they were getting analysis and data from him where they didn't consent for that to happen. So this phantom lawsuit that YouTube was hit with, it's all these guys with their toy videos and any video, specifically the toy stuff. People are freaked out about, like, oh God, what are we gonna do? Because now there's supposed fines and stuff that you could get hit with if your video is deemed for kids or not for kids or whatever.
Oh my Lord.
Here's what I think's really going down. Let me tell you what's really going down. Don't buy all that bullshit that you can say all you want to up front in your video that it's for adults. These are a video about adult collectibles. Better not bring your kids. And you can say all that you want to, but if YouTube on high says this video is for children, we declare it for children, then that's all that has to be decided.
You don't really tick that box as the content creator, do you?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not really your call.
What happened is, the real talk-ish, as far as this ruling came down, is YouTube doesn't want another Ryan's World to start, or whoever is going to be the next thing, because you're making these videos, you're telling people to go to your store, you have the kid has a freaking line of toys in stores that YouTube doesn't get none of that scratch for. And that's the problem. That's what we have to stop.
That sounds a lot more realistic than some unnamed mom somewhere got mad because, well, what about the data? Does your kid have a Facebook? Do you have a Facebook? Are you going on the internet? Are you letting...
For you regardless whether you
yes,
say yes or no.
Yes, sir. It seems to me that seems very fabricated and stupid and made up. But your point, that makes a lot more sense to me.
There's people who have, God love them, it's weird to me that knowing that kid didn't at that young age be like, you know what, I'm going to set up this camera and I'm going to do all this. These kids were coached by Ma and Pa.
Ma and Pa.
And God love them, it's paid off. But the fact that they've gotten so big that there's a line of toys in Five Below, Target, God knows what, come to this website and buy our t-shirt, come to this Patreon and support us, and YouTube don't get none of that scratch from. They're like, never again. Well, can we allow that to happen? That's what the COPPA ruling was all about.
That sounds a lot more believable to me. I think you're on it. Not knowing anything else about it, that makes a lot of sense to me.
But and what really is going to happen as far as when your video is declared, we declare for you, children, you are on hell.
Mom brothers.
Mom brothers. See, no comments allowed on your videos. No, all this whole list of stuff that you can't have on your videos, which hurts certain toy channels that rely on that interaction with their fan base to help their monetized videos. Channels like oh, this one don't have to worry about that.
Doesn't affect us one bit. There's to you.
There's to you on that one.
For real.
So don't have to worry about that bull mess. But I just don't buy all that bull crap about it being for the children and all this data that they're finding out about it. Don't buy that bullshit.
No, me neither. It's absolutely nobody cares about that stuff.
And it's a freaky thing when and there was a family, I want to say it was out there Colorado way, that
Colorado territory.
sometime somewhere in that neck of the territory, that the family was indicted and was found liable for abuse of these children. That you can tell these parents are. It was almost like bullying and some type of weird setup jokes that they tried to. The kids were in on it. Like, no, you're terrorizing your kids, and they were found liable, and that stuff doesn't need to happen. But I have a nephew, and that's one of his favorite things to do. He just comes and he gets on my lap, and we're watching YouTube videos, and that's what he's drawn to is the toy stuff.
No way. No, my goodness. Yeah, seriously.
But there are some of these videos out there from other countries that there's no way that these kids aren't being coached and scripted by mom and dad to get out there and make some of that money.
It's like a stocking blocking on a night stocking blocking. Like swatting the kids with rulers, man. It's terrible stuff.
So if this ruling prevents some of that, then maybe that's a good thing. But I just what people were being told on the surface and all the doom and gloom that was being coming, like there's other motives behind this.
I completely think you're right. It's one of those things where people talk about it all the time, man. We say it, everyone knows it. It's just a business is like the greatest catch-all phrase in the history of the planet. And people use that and they will forgive behaviors, reprehensible behaviors, in the name of that.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it never occurs to them that they're actually correct. If it doesn't come down to dollars and cents, it's not the whole story.
Yeah.
It's just true, and it sucks, but that's true, man. I think your take is much better than that bull mess they're trying to pass off.
Yes, that was. I know that was one of the big topics that was kind of going around about the time that last time we got together to do a video, and then there was that and. Jim Cornette going crazy racist and stuff like that all about the time. Yeah. I was like, man, we gotta get together and discuss this.
The Cornette thing is fascinating in that joke is old as the hills. He's made it 1,000 times before, and apparently the third or fourth version of the story of why he got fired was, well, this is the straw that broke the camel's back. He's making the job too difficult on the editors. And I'm like, ooh, don't say that. And the reason is, to be fair to Corny, one of the first things he said on his show was literally the first thing I thought.
I thought was like, as long as you had this in the can.
Yes, sir.
How does this fall on him?
Yes, sir. I thought the same thing. Is like, well, did we hire Cornette as sound editor? Because that was my thing too. Is like, man, he says stuff like that. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
I ain't saying he's right or wrong. I think, and part of it, it's just like, well, it's such a racist joke. It's an outdated joke. For God's sake, man. It's like, dude, let it go. This is ridiculous. Yeah. But yeah, as far as like them throwing him under the bus, I understand. But the problem is, you will not absolve the NWA, or I don't think public TV have anything to do with it, but you don't absolve the NWA by firing him because you had it in the can. If it was live, maybe you get away with it. Yeah. Janet Jackson probably says you don't, but you might. But it's exactly what you said. That thing was in a can for a month and a half, and you're the one that aired it. Well, pulled it off and edited it. Great. But this is the kind of stuff.
Hero.
Well, this is the kind of stuff that's the difference between, like, golly, whenever you have, I can't remember what store it was, but when you decide to have like the freaking, it was the print ad stuff or the internet ad stuff for one of the clothing stores, and you've got like the little black kid in the monkey T-shirt, and you've got the little
Those Urban Outfitters had some stuff.
Something like that. You get the little Middle Eastern kid with the shirt that says "I'm the bomb" on it, and it's like that's intentional. Yeah. That is 100% designed to get attention, and I can prove it.
Out there, baby.
None of that stuff got printed. Yeah. It was just on the web. Mm-hmm. So that way, when somebody found it, you go in, you change the code. It's not up there anymore. But boy, you talking. Mm-hmm. You talking, and that's the problem. So you can do that, and people get away with that stuff. Then when someone legitimately makes a mistake like this, and I don't mean Cornette. Cornette is he doesn't apologize for it, so I'm not apologizing for him. Mm-hmm. I'm with you. It's on who edited the sound. Yeah. It's either one of two things. Either you didn't make a mistake because what he says, you didn't think it was that big of a deal, and he ain't wrong about that. It's like, if you don't have a problem with the joke, then don't have a problem with it now. Yeah. But that's the point. If you do have a problem with the joke, why'd you let it sit on that tape? Get out of here, man. You could have changed that. Yeah. I wish you had changed it, because I like Corny. I mean, good for him. He gets to go home, and he don't want to come back to Atlanta anyway, so I understand that. But it's just a huge mess about nothing. And I hate it, because I'm enjoying the NWA. I hate that they've done it's just one of those things where we talk about it, man. The Twitter world is quite literally built on negativity. That's how you make money on Twitter. Yeah. But the NWA, unfortunately, really effed up. And that's really, it's as silly as it is, that's their only crime. Mm-hmm. Because if you want to see how to exist in Twitter world, that is the example the current president can show you. You're never wrong. You didn't do it. You can't prove it. I did do it, but what does it matter? Yeah. Those are the stages. Just do it every single time.
That's hard evidence. That wasn't me.
Deny, and then when they prove it, like, yeah, so what are you going to do? Yeah. So what? That's literally it. It's pathetic, but this is what advertising on social media has turned us into. Just deny everything until somebody proves it, and then be like, "Wait, man, and just do your crimes out in the open."
Look at all this time and money you've wasted.
Yeah, seriously. Just do your crimes out in the open, and it will be like, yeah, but you know what? It can't be that bad. I mean, he's not even trying to cover it up. It works.
When it comes to Cornette, and just to listen to his show for a month, the jokes he makes on there, sophomoric, doesn't do it justice. It's skin crawling. Like, this wasn't funny then. It's not funny. It sucked in. It sucked now.
Yeah, man. It's like, come on, dude.
So to hear a joke like that, like it, I remember. It's. I heard the live thing go out, and it was one of those things. Even when I heard it, I was like, "What did he just say?" And I was like, but that was my first thought. I was like, if you believe everything that we've been fed, is like Dave LaGreca does everything at the NWA. He hangs the banners. He steams them. He does all this stuff. So like, how does this not fall on him?
Yeah, that was my thing too. Is like, I get you going into CYA mode, but the fact that it was pre-recorded means that this isn't going to get you out from underneath that. Yeah. It sucks, but it's exactly what you just said, man. Yeah. I don't see where it falls on Corny. And if you'd done it and you'd edited it and then you fired him anyway because of it was the last chance kind of thing. Okay, I can feel that. I mean, if he's making too much work for people, I get it. But clearly in this case, he didn't make too much work because you didn't do the work. So it's like, for real, man. But yeah, that whole thing is silly. It's great. I mean, that's talking about, like, obviously it's gotten the NWA a lot of attention. Mm-hmm. I don't know if it'll. I hope it helps them a little bit. And it's weird to say that because, again, like with social media advertising, a lot of people do stuff like that intentionally. They just do because it's better for you. But I don't know how much of a cushion they have to fall back on.
It felt a little kabuki-ish in the, like, man, how much of this was just, let's put it out there and see, how much heat is too much heat.
It could be. It could be, man.
What can we get away with, that kind of thing.
Well, he's said several times on the show that he's thrilled to be at home trying to fill orders. So it could just be a, man, I'm out of here. Let's book me out to Blaze of Glory. Yeah.
And it's like, and I am number one believer if it's a work situation, a school situation, a relationship situation. If you don't want to be here, don't be here.
No kidding.
By all means,
get out.
Leave. And I think that's kind of what he's like, I'm determined to not be here next go round. And if this is what it takes, then that's what I'll have to say and do.
That makes sense to me too, man. Mm-hmm. It does. I could see it going either way, but I hope that's it, because why the heck not? Because I'm all about the big bookings. Let's do it. Let's do it, man.
man, one cool thing I got to go do. I'm pretty sure I'm doing these in the right chronological order. I got to go see Sara Bareilles.
Yeah, man.
In town, and that was one of those shows. And I've got some coming up this next year that I can just see on the horizon. Like, I'll get a ticket one of these days. I'll see how it goes when it gets closer.
All right, kid.
We'll see.
We'll buy tickets, Jerry.
Okay. and it was one of those kind of deals where it was like the week of the show, and of course my schedule was where I couldn't make it. And I was like, well, damn it! Now I didn't realize how much I wanted to go until I couldn't make it. Well, I worked out the schedule where I could go, got down there, and but it was well worth it.
Sweet, man.
Paid off in abundance, and it's one of those type of shows that I'd never seen Sara before, and I just it dawned on me when the shows were announced about 6 months ago. Like, man, she hasn't toured in a minute, and that was one of the points she made in the show. Is like she's like, so this is our first time touring in like 6 years, and I was shocked at how funny she was with her talk with the crowd, and just like she was on stage, said, this is our first time touring in 6 years, and she was like, and I know you're out there saying, we know, bitch, we know,
we've been waiting,
but the past several years she essentially did the music for the musical Waitress, I think might be the name.
I think you're right.
It was a movie, then it was the musical, and she did the music for that show. This was actually the last night. This was the finale of the Amidst the Chaos tour, and was leaving that show. I think she'll probably do some stuff over the holidays, and then she's going to London to be in the production over there of Waitress.
See you in 6 months. See you in 6 years.
Yeah. Bye again.
Bye.
And but it was just one of those kind of shows. I didn't realize how bad I wanted to go until it was like upon us. I was like, I got to be there, and I had completely forgotten just how many good songs that she had that I'd forgotten about. And then as far as the show goes. Her stage design was just super cool. It's like this weird kind of funnel of these panels, and then she gets to her song Letters, and you kind of that's what the letters, and so it was just a really neat stage design, and just top to bottom everybody was really good. She had an opener. I want to say her name was Billie King. Worth a look-ski, worth a Google. She, if you can imagine, like it's hard to. I'm terrible at this game of comparing, whether it's with looks or sounds or whatever it is. I'm always comparing somebody to somebody they don't want to be compared to. But if you could imagine like a New York black Robin, to me that's kind of how I felt she was, and that's not even a good comparison, I don't think. But point is, I'm trying to get to you is she's really good.
Yeah.
And she had a good song. It's called the song was By You I Mean Me, was a good one, and just so she was really, really fun. And so anyway, sat down and saw the Sara Bareilles show and had a fun time doing that. And I was just surprised just how quick she kind of got to. It was like the third song in, and you hear, "Doom, head underwater." Like, oh my God, we're going there now.
We doing this now?
And
golly, I cut you off. I apologize.
No, that's all good.
Phil Collins. I was gonna say that reminds me. What story does that remind me of? And it's Phil doing Against All Odds. Like, God dang,
you're kicking off in this mess.
Yeah, seriously, man.
Phil, do you realize what you're
Hey,
doing?
Atlanta, I'm Phil Collins. We're playing one song by. Just go straight into it.
We're done.
Serious, that's that.
Bye-bye.
And by we, I mean me. There's no band behind this curtain.
Pay no attention to this curtain.
Don't worry about them. They're not getting paid tonight.
There's no band back there to see.
For real.
Right here.
It's all me. I'm Phil Collins.
It was one of those shows unlike anyone I've ever been to in a really, really long time. she was signing stuff on stage for people.
That's cool, man.
That I thought it was super cool, and you could just kind of get that vibe of like, man, there was this feeling in the room of like, man, we hadn't seen our friend in a long time.
Yeah, that's cool.
That's the feeling that you got from these. And totally, the down front section was all about some Sara, and she sold that bitch out. I mean, there wasn't a seat left.
I can believe it, man. You don't tour for 6 years, and like you said, she had the one like mega monster song.
Mm-hmm.
But then, like you're talking about, man, when I start looking at that list, it's like, oh wow, yeah, that was her. Oh yeah, it's her too.
Yeah.
And I used to date a girl that was really, really, really into Sara Bareilles' music, and it's exactly what you're talking about. I mean, it's not quite Tori Amos like, because boy, Tori Amos fans that is a special fan base, buddy. They love them some Tori. But there's a similar vibe. The girl that I knew that liked Sara Bareilles the best, it was a huge deal to her. So like you're talking about, there's just a bunch of people that is their man for a certain group of people, usually a certain age group. Man, she's their one. You're right. Ferociously loyal, fantastically ferociously loyal.
I'd forgotten about the song "King of Anything."
Yeah, man. See, I wasn't thinking about that one either.
that was a big one. And one song that I didn't even realize was hers in the first place was she, and especially this went over very well in Midtown Atlanta. The song "Brave."
Oh yeah,
Had no idea what that song was about, and that was the other kind of cool thing too about at the show, is it was almost like there was a story for every song. It's like, man, is this a storyteller show? I mean, get on with it.
I was just thinking about storytellers too, man. I will tell you, I'm going to veer for 1 second, but we're talking about Atlanta music and VH1 storytellers, and it still bums me out to this day that they did a couple of DVDs and I think they did a couple of CDs, but that they never did the Black Crow storytellers breaks my heart, because it was absolutely fabulous. That was as good an episode of that show as there ever was, and it was cool too, because I mean it was, I think it was just the two of them. I'm pretty sure that entire show was just Chris and Rich, and it's like, man, god dang, I wish I had a copy of that, because I actually haven't checked. It's probably on YouTube. I haven't even looked it up.
It'd be worth a look.
Yeah, totally.
On the VH1 app or whatever the hell.
Yeah, seriously. But it's, good God, if you like the Black Crows, man, it's just Rich Robinson with the acoustic guitar and Chris doing that Chris Robinson thing, and it's just,
and it's funky Chris.
Chris Robinson is one of the, I swear to God, man, Chris Robinson, of like great Christ level rock and roll frontmen that do not get their due. I mean, for performance, it's there, but just pure vocals. Man, that kid is amazing. He is absolutely amazing. I love that guy, man.
You get to that part of the show, and I didn't realize that she did the song "Brave," and when she sat down and explained what it was about, it's like, oh well, this is perfect for this crowd.
Hey, man.
No, but I dug it too, and the song was all about a friend of hers in adulthood coming out.
Yeah.
And she's like, I want to see you be brave. I want to see you do this. You need to do this. And so that place was, just say rockin'.
Yeah,
it's
man.
hard to not say effing rockin'.
Yeah, no, don't demonetize us.
Yeah.
We can't do toy reviews anymore.
About toys.
We gotta not curse. But yeah, that is it's messed up. I said the one monster song earlier. I was wrong. There were two monster songs. But yeah, that one is, that's a huge.
It was one after another
That's a huge song, man.
And there's a part of the show, I would say go see it in your town, but you can't. But what you can do is you can listen to it on this very YouTube channel.
That's right.
There's a part.
But don't buy toys. Don't buy the Sara Bareilles action figure. We're not advocating that.
But there's the middle section of the show, and she even said that night we call this the waitress suite, where they just come out, and it made me want to go see that show, and it still tours and it comes around. I believe they are getting ready to close in New York, but I think that it'll still be like a touring show for probably another season or two. that it makes me want to go see that show. And there's some songs from that show. There's a song called She Used to Be Mine, I want to say. And it's just like one of those kind of like but as many songs from they did from that show that are all jamming and just rocking. She gets to that one, and just knowing that another thing that she explained at the show is like this song is for that show. It was written with her. I don't know if she wrote the song with this lady, but the show itself was written by a lady, and she's like, and she's she's no longer with us, and that's kind of as far as she could go with the story. But like, it's the she used to be mine song. It's like I just go search that one out if you don't search out any other one.
Yeah, man.
And
check that out.
If that don't make you want to sit down and see the show or get into more Sara Bareilles music, then nothing's gonna.
Yeah,
so,
that's a great place to start because
yeah,
you'll know.
So that was the jam, and
yeah.
But yeah, man, it was just freaking crazy, and a money well spent to go see that show. And I kind of dumb luck. I think I had bought one of the last shows off the Fox, last tickets off the Fox website. The Monday. This show was on a Tuesday. I think I bought it that Monday morning, and because I drug my feet like I always do, got on one of the secondhand ticket sites and just saw what tickets were going for, and I was like, I can't go for that. I was like, let me see if anything's left on the Fox website. I got the last one on the floor from what I could see.
Sweet, man.
And I was like, for that price, let me go.
It's the benefit of doing crap by yourself, being willing to do stuff on your own, man.
It gets me out of many a jam.
Yeah.
I got, it's hard to say I got offended, but it was one of those kind of comments that I got from somebody that I don't think they meant it to sound as bad as it sounded to my ear at the time. But it was one of those kind of comments you get from somebody after one of the WrestleMania trips, and I was posting pictures on Facebook, and it was just one of those kind of comments, and that was one of those things like, how could you afford this? I was like, I can afford it because I only have to buy one ticket. I don't got a bunch of goddamn little kids I got to buy a ticket for.
It's very true.
That's how.
That's my thing with going to games. It's like one ticket, man. And it's weird too, because like people that have a bunch of kids and get mad that you go and do stuff like that, I got no sympathy for. The people I have sympathy for, though, I think about this a lot. I one night way back in the day when I was like just completely not sleeping, I drove my vehicle out to for Pete's sake, Thornton Road basically, and then popped down to
Hostile area, baby.
Man, where in the world did I wind up? I can't believe I forgot the name of it. But I wanted to go walk around the airport because the Atlanta airport's really interesting. All airports are interesting, but Atlanta is fascinating because so many flights come through there.
You can do it.
Yeah, and they don't close everything. I mean, you can't go to the gates and stuff, but there's lots of stuff you can just walk around, talk to people. So I go, and I wind up jumping on one of the little shuttles. It was kind of cool because I didn't want to drive to the airport. So the guy's all like basically just taking like a cleaning crew in, and he's like, yeah, jump in, no problem, it's all good. So I drive over or I hang out and get a lift over to the airport. I'm just walking around talking to people. It was cool. It was totally awesome because you just never know what's going to happen. And then it comes time to go back home, and shuttles aren't running because it's like 4 a.m. So I start walking from the airport. Camp Creek is what I was trying to think of. I walked from the airport to Camp Creek, and I'm going through
not the type of part of town you want to be walking at.
Not really, but the thing is that I'm a fat white guy, and at the time it wasn't quite as ridiculous as it is now. But I used to love to Jared knows, he's known me a long time, man. I used to like keep my head all shaved down, and I was in pretty good shape, and it was just basically, it would not have been worth anybody's time, because if you see this bald-headed white dude walking through College Park at 3 a.m, it's like, no thanks. And it worked out okay, but it occurred to me,
kind of scared.
Yeah, it's like, man, fuck that guy. That guy's stupid.
Yeah.
That guy's too dumb for me to fuck with. Whatever. But I'd like stopped at this gas station just to talk to this dude. And he was nervous. I think he thought I was going to rob him because it's just, it's just a weird thing. And I'm like, man, it's cool because I appreciate it. If your hackles go up because some weird dude comes in walking by himself at that time of the day, I mean, I understand, dude. I
at any time of day, I get it.
Yeah, it's like, man, it's okay. But from that point on, I'm walking back to my car and it's all good. And it occurred to me, and this sounds weird, but I promise it ties back into us talking about solo tickets. I got no sympathy for people with kids. Dudes with kids, I should say, because gender's about to be very important in this story. But I'm like walking through, getting to my car and it's all good. And it occurred to me, I don't know a single woman that can do this. It was a strange moment of like, people use privilege an awful lot, but for the way it's used, it was something that occurred to me. It was like being a dude allows you to do this. And I felt kind of sad because I love doing crap by myself. So I hate that, I got lots of friends who are women and I'm like, man, I hate that it's not that you can't do it. It's just that if you think you can't do it, I understand why you think you can't do it. And if it's anyone giving you crap about what a bad idea it is, man, I understand why they're doing that too. It just sucked. I had not thought about it before, but that was a long time ago now. But it still sucked, and I feel bad for my girls that can't go to stuff by themselves, man. And even if it's something like a Dragon Con panel, because it's not even like bad stuff. It's just the hassle of.
And they totally
98-2, the percentage wise. Some dude is gonna like, and again, it might not even be
well-lit room. With plenty of people in sight. You're still a target.
It might not even be a bad dude. Just somebody that wants to come up and hit you up and talk to you and try to chat you up. That's annoying. Yeah. And that's like baseline. And man, stuff like that is that's sad, man.
That's something I can't relate to.
Totally. And
I cannot. I'll never understand what that's like.
Yeah, I've never had that. Never had to think about it. Never had to worry about it. And I was like, man, that sucks. Because it occurred to me one day because I was just talking about doing this thing and doing that thing, and I'm like, man, that really kind of sucks because you're talking about stuff that there are people in this conversation that cannot possibly do what you're talking about, and it sucks because it's a lot of fun. So I hate to. I wish everybody could do that junk.
Yeah, that's how even when it comes to some of the secondhand ticket websites, I will bite the bullet because it's just one that I have to get. Yeah. It's not me and a wife or 14 kids. Patience, wife.
Patience, wife.
So that gives me a huge advantage.
Yeah, I agree.
There's another side to that coin. When you're standing in line at the World of Wheels and you desperately have to go pee.
Yeah, that's the downside.
Nobody's going to save your spot in line. They might if you get chummy with them, but I don't necessarily do that. I just kind of stand there and chill and do my own thing and just suffer. But for the most part, there's just we all have something to overcome.
I'll tell y'all what I'll do at the World of Wheels, because see, this is me being a jerk to the man. Because that's right. It's like if you go by yourself, you can't leave the line, and you just have to like nut up. Basically, you have to buckle down and take care of business, or you can do what I do, but just whip it out.
Yeah, just
hey, World of Wheels, this is my bathroom, baby.
These floors concrete.
Yeah, for what? What?
Squeeze you right up.
Seriously, literally, are broadcasting you on the screen with your pants down, like pissing all over the floor. Like, I'm telling you, it's not me. I didn't do it. I don't know what you're talking about, man. That's you right there. Hey, what are you talking about? It's not that big a deal.
Superimposed.
It'll work. It's just like we said, man.
Superimposed.
Fake news. It's not real. It's not me.
It's silly.
You can't prove it.
Bad Boys 3 gonna be good?
Yeah, for real. Bad Boys 3 gonna be good.
My other
first preview I saw for Gemini Man, I would have sworn was going to be Bad Boys 3.
I was certain of it.
I swear that's what I thought it was going to be.
Bad Boys 3.
I was disappointed.
No, it's not.
I was disappointed when it was.
Dang.
I'm like,
oh man.
Now I also heard that there was a version of that was supposed to be Will and his kid. And I'm like, man, I'd be way more likely to watch it if they'd done that, because it's not Will's fault. I like Will. It's just that if you're getting twice the work, you're not giving him 2 checks, then you suck.
Yeah.
He's like, nah, man, that's not cool.
Yo, guys, if y'all gonna hook me up and not him, by all means. De-age me.
Yeah, that's messed up, man. It's like doing twice the work, man.
What if his kid was just like kind of, they drug their feet on it, he just got to be too old, or what the deal was with that. It's like, you look just like him, but now you don't look, now you're too old to play the era we want you to play.
It could be the Jungle Jack thing that we keep talking about, where they just go on and on about how come they're not playing him up as the son of a former Hollywood star. Why don't they talk about that? I'm like, maybe he doesn't want them to. Yeah. And maybe, golly, what's his freaking name? He's named after his mama. Jaden. Mm-hmm. Maybe he just didn't want to do it. Yeah. So that's cool. I do wish they'd given Will 2 checks. I'd have felt better.
It would have been the second you saw Will Smith, Jaden Smith, that people would thought After Earth 2.
Yeah, after Earth.
We're trying to convince people this isn't Bad Boys 3. How are we going to convince them it's After Earth 2?
Yeah, but we got to get over and got this other hill to climb.
What the hell's a Gemini Man?
Yeah, for real.
I don't understand it. It's like, you telling me you made a person from another person, and now all people were made? Oh. Oopsie. Oops. Shout out to Screen Rant.
Oh, God. That guy's fantastic. Okay.
That's some funny crap.
I completely agree. It's like we were talking earlier about What's Up With That from SNL, and how What's Up With That is literally the same joke like 4 times. Every time they do it, I laugh every time. Mm-hmm. Screen Rant, it's really about the timing and the editing and the way he puts it together, and it's the same because he's got a style. I laugh every time. It is great every single time, man.
Super easy, barely an inconvenience. I
love
need you to get all the way off my back.
I love that dude, man.
But my other fun little solo dude trip I got to go make up to Duluth. That was the funny thing. I went to the Starrcade show.
Yeah, man.
And it was every WWE guy that came out of the curtain and said, "What's up, Atlanta?" The crowd's like, "Duluth!"
That's messed up, man.
Duluth, mother.
Get out! Boo! Then the heel immediately.
But it was one of those shows that I went to just to be able to say I went. And that's I honest to God, had never been to a WWE house show. You could say the NXT show at Center Stage was a house show because it never broadcast anywhere. I didn't really count that because it was just such a smaller show. This one was a fun show to go to, and if you didn't go, you didn't miss nothing.
Just so you know.
But at the same time, there was still plenty of fun stuff there to go and say, it's a fun show. Got my money's worth. But from what I understand, what was broadcast on the network was there was a Kevin Owens interview segment with Ric Flair, the women's tag match, and the whatever ended up going down with Bobby Lashley and Rusev. I couldn't tell. It was hard to tell when they got to fighting each other through the crowd. I was like, is this still on the network or not? I couldn't tell. But after that, there was like an intermission where you could kind of tell, oh, this is definitely done for the night. And it was after the network bullcrap that the show really got fun. And I posted a photo, and that was one of the comments that one of my dudes on Facebook said, like, it looks empty. He's like, no, I just got there early. There wasn't a huge crowd, but that was a decent crowd for a show like that. But
people got to stop that 1997 threshold, man.
Yeah.
It ain't like that anymore. It's not like that for anybody anymore, especially if you're AEW and you're going to go to buildings that are too big for you.
That's going to happen.
Said from day one, y'all know, if you've been watching the show, man, I wanted them to, I'm not saying pull an NWA and go to a studio that small, but there's got to be some place in Jacksonville that is reminiscent of Full Sail.
Yeah.
Just do it, make it a Target show. Do it. Oh, the upper bowl is never saw. Dude, if you're going to play those type of places, those tickets are expensive. I'm not giving you that much to sit up top at an AEW show. To hell with that. I wouldn't give you that much to sit at a WWE show anyway. I went off, sorry.
Even if you just tried to stick to college basketball arenas, some of those are way too big.
It's true. It's true, man.
You couldn't necessarily do that. But it really got good after you just got to just the house show stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Not on the network, And what I thought was hilarious was, and if they had been doing this all night, I totally missed it. I don't think they did. It was just for, and it was weird. After the stuff there was 2 dark match deals. There was a Seth Rollins and Eric Rowan match to kick everything off, and everybody was kind of like, who gives a damn? Then there was a Nakamura and The Miz match that was like fine. And then the show kicks off. They didn't start doing any of this until after the network broadcast, where they had the actual old Starrcade posters, like guys standing there with the big star behind them, stuff up on the screen and everything. And it was a really funny one where it was Andrade and Aleister Black come out, and they have a pretty good match. It's a decent amount of time, and Aleister Black ends up winning. And Selena Vega gets on the mic. She's cutting this promo about, that was a fluke. This is bull, or whatever she says. So we demand another match right now. And the music hits, and it's freaking Ricochet. I'm like, oh crap! But they had the poster ready to go. It's like Ricochet next to Andrade again. Like,
that's awesome.
We're doing this. And so Ricochet comes out. It's just a straight up squash. It's like, oh man, Andrade just got pooned right here in Duluth.
Andrade just got patty slapped.
And I was thrilled to go because I was looking forward to it. It was my first time getting to see Bray Wyatt as the Fiend live. And it is just as creepy in person as it is on TV. The red light live didn't bother me. What bothered me was he was having to work with Braun Strowman, and that just straight up sucked.
Yes, it does.
It was not good. It was terrible. The match was fine. The match was good. It was just the finish was just totally stupid. The finish was the Fiend slams him into the cage and just walks out. That was it. And we're kind of like, everybody's going, that cannot be the finish. And that was the finish. But to kind of, save face, and make Braun look strong after the loss, as the OC comes out and he beats the shit out of them. But it's like, why not just have a better match? Why not just have a better finish than that? And I get it's a house show. He had the whole Fiend belt around his neck and everything, so that was kind of cool to see live. But I don't get that belt. The first time I saw the Fiend look, I was like, ugh. But it's grown on me, and I like it. But I don't like that title. I just like, why do that?
Yeah, I was telling Jared, if we got to do a Fiend title, I like the idea of it being a bit more ragged. I think that it would look very interesting if the look you went for is basically scorched human flesh. And what I mean is all black is fine, but right there on the edges have like pink and white. It would be terrifying. And instead of the freaking face, man, just do one of the eyes or something. Like do the Sauron Championship or something. I don't think you need it anyway. I mean, I think all of WWE's belt, I shouldn't say all of them. I think the women's championships, especially the SmackDown one, those are nice. Man, that's about it. Most of their I think most of their belts are crap. I like the Cruiserweight title just because it's different. I do wish they would change the WWE to NXT on it just because that belt is on that show now. But that's it. The look I'm okay with. The NXT titles I don't care for because they're just way too UFC. They're all the same thing. So it's like, the tag belts are okay. But the old tag belts I loved. So I'm all upset they got rid of that.
I would say they'll eventually get around to it, but I think that's so far down the list of priorities that they'll probably just disband it before they change it. As far as the cruiserweight title is.
Yeah, I would think so. But I'm on the cruiserweights now, man, because I was telling the man that Angel Garza has really been very impressive to me in the time that's with the USA NXT on USA era. I really like that kid. And then him and Leo Rush, that was so good, man. I really enjoyed the crap out of that match. That was awesome. That's as far as like matches, that's the one I've seen lately that like really did it for me. And then anything Keith Lee is in. I was telling the man earlier, I finally put together how to express what it is about Keith Lee. I can't say what I like about him so much because there's a lot to like about him. But Keith Lee, I fuss about Corny all the time, and that sucks because I like Corny quite a bit. But he's just so rigid in that you can't evolve. Everything's got to be the way it was. It's like we were talking earlier about. Corny is very, very dogmatic in that the way I came up in the business is the only way. Mm-hmm. JR, who came up by the Cowboy as well, JR, I think, has more of an attitude of, well, the way that I was shown the business is the right way, mm-hmm. but this is how we do it now. Mm-hmm. I think that's totally cool. And with that being in mind, it's why when Adam Cole, first time I saw Adam Cole was at Center Stage at a Ring of Honor show, and I mean, he just came out and cut a promo, and as soon as the kid, he's about 4 words into the promo, and it's like, that guy's going to be WWE champion one day. Mm-hmm. That guy right there. Because people say it now about Seth Rollins. Oh, Tyler Black was always going to be champ. And I'm like, if you say so. I don't, it's not that I dislike Seth Rollins. I just think Rollins and Bryan Danielson, in my opinion, owe pretty much all, if not the majority, of their WWE success to Punk leaving. Because that is literally why Daniel Bryan got pushed. Mm-hmm. Because Punk left, and it's like, they don't like indie guys, they don't like small guys, they don't like guys like me. And it's like, we're going to take this wackadoodle left-wing vegan from Seattle who's got a goat beard, who's smaller than you, and we're going to make him the biggest thing we got. Nah, man, they didn't want to push Bryan Danielson. You sure about that? Yeah, but they were totally against him. That's what the hell no and the yes and la-di-da. I'm like, yeah, it's a whole lot of screen time for a guy they don't like. Mm-hmm. Anyhow, there's those guys, that's that. Adam Cole's the guy. As soon as I saw him, it was like, because my buddy Chacho and I were talking about it, and he was like, man, because it was basically not an NXT versus AEW conversation. It was just like, man, Adam Cole, man, going to sign with WWE. I'm like, I hope so, because he's right for them. He will be great for them. That'd be awesome. I've said before with Michael, I'm sorry, that's AJ Styles, as far as in-ring performance, is Shawn Michaels without any of the personal issues. Mm-hmm. Adam Cole is Shawn Michaels, one of the personal issues, top to bottom. Better promo, too, because I didn't think Shawn Michaels' promos were all that good. It's just that compared to Bret Hart, of course he was better. Who's not better than Bret Hart? But
that's not much of a comparison.
It's the truth, man. Adam Cole is a staggeringly talented guy. And somehow, they've got him in a faction with 3 guys right there with him. It's fascinating how good that group is, and I love those guys. And I'm sorry, this is a lot to say to get to this. The thing about Keith Lee, man, is I loved Keith Lee the first time I saw him. But when I first saw him, I just thought he was very entertaining and enjoyable. And it's like, man, that guy's impressive to be as big as he is. Then you find out, yeah, Keith Lee signed with NXT too. Triple H is super high on him. Like, all right on, that's cool. And then you watch Keith Lee, and it's like the idea that Triple H had for that guy. It's like, oh my God, he's right. Yep. And I'll finally get to the verbiage that I've come up with. As far as bridging the gap and evolution and the way things move, Keith Lee, from a moveset standpoint, and really kind of a character standpoint too, because God, anytime you don't try to turn them into, God, what were they called, man? It's not Cornette's Gangsters, and it's not Crime Time. Anytime you have a black kid that's huge, and it's like, just go be huge, knock people over, throw people around, be a professional wrestling champion. It's refreshing as hell, because God, it's been since we were kids that it was just, this is the hot thing, let's do it. They're always, with anybody that's not white, you always have to play up ethnicity, and it's like, thank God we're skipping that with this guy. They did it with Big E too. Big E wasn't like that. Big E Langston was, it seems to me that Keith Lee is Big E Langston with exclamation points on it, because Trips loved him too. Trips wanted Big E to be Roman Reigns, and he got vetoed. But man, you see Keith Lee, he is everything that is cool about modern wrestling in terms of movesets and just guys doing extraordinarily athletic things, particularly a guy that big. He's that guy. Everything that's cool about modern wrestling in a body that is timeless would have been successful at any point in wrestling. Yeah. Man, he is so good. He is so good.
Speaking of both of those guys, there was some clip I came across. I'm pretty sure it was Facebook, and I think it was from this past week's show. It was Keith Lee like shoulder tackling, checking Adam Cole into the crowd. Like, Jesus!
Yeah, off the ramp, man. Yeah. It was fantastic.
Jesus Christ.
It was fantastic, dude. Between that and we were talking about it where they had AJ doing the thing and Randy pops up behind him, and it's like, I get what you're trying to do there, and I know I'm biased because I don't like Randy Orton. And I think the RKO is the most overrated move in the history of wrestling, and the reason I say that is because anybody else that's ever performed anything that's a variation of the Diamond Cutter does it better than Orton's RKO. It's just not good.
Mm-hmm.
But anyhow, I get what you're going for. It's all good. You want dramatic camera work, that's okay. The kids at NXT do a much better job. For example, you've got Finn in the corner doing the pistols, and right as he's doing it, Keith Lee's face comes in the screen. That was fantastic. That was so good, man. So I'm loving that show. It makes me very happy. Unfortunately, I was telling Jared, I think I've until I hear that I need to watch something, I think I've tapped out on AEW, man. I'm done with Jericho. I didn't need to see the Festival of Friendship again. It's not my thing. I'm not done with Moxley because I never started. He's not my guy. I don't like him. I'm tired of the Sandman Shield thing. I'm tired of the Steve Austin clones. Same thing with Ciampa. I think Ciampa is a very good performer. But those are my big three as far as just the style of performer that burns me out, man. It's Tommaso Ciampa, Becky Lynch, Jon Moxley. I just can't stand that. I am so cool and so tough and so awesome, and nobody can hurt me, and I don't know what selling is, and I'm not big enough to be Andre the Giant, but I'm going to act like it. I can't stand it, man. It's performance art. Perform. Can't stand it, man.
I don't think we had this come up in any of our conversations, but I know I had this conversation with somebody recently, and one of the points I made about being the two WrestleManias I've attended in my life was 27 and 30. I've been to events at some others. That's like that's the way I like to jam.
Yeah, brother.
But sitting there at WrestleMania 30, I had this kind of thought come to me when I was talking to this friend a few days ago. If you had told me at that time, at WrestleMania 30, when it was the Shield versus DX going on in the ring, if you had told me at that time, just a few short years, your favorite of these three is going to be Roman Reigns, I would have said, you're high off your ass.
I can believe it.
And it happened.
Oh, yeah.
At the time, it was Dean. I went through a sad period. And Roman's my dude now. And seeing him the other night, I was like, kind of, really, it kind of came to me again, like, man, this guy is the best guy of all those three. And
I completely agree in the sense that I think Rollins is a very good performer. I think that Rollins is a little bit of an overrated in-ring guy because every move that Rollins does either looks fantastic or is complete dog shit, and there is no in-between. There's no in-between. Falcon Arrow looks fantastic. V-Trigger, first of all, don't call it that, and secondly, for God's sake, don't let him do that because Kenny Omega, whether you like him or not, when he hits people with that knee, it looks like he breaks their spine through the back of their freaking head. It is disgusting. It's fantastic.
Seth will actually do that.
Yeah, and make it look like crap in the process. Like, man, that's awful. So, yeah, man, it's I like the resurrection of Roman Reigns. I like the release because that's all it is. Everybody that has met that guy, everybody that knows that guy is like, man, the way they're messing him up is by overproducing him. It's like, man, just let him go out there and do his thing. And it's like, yeah, man, I can totally see that. Like, I can't believe, I don't remember what podcast it was that he was on, but it was, Jericho. Yes, yeah. Thank you. Yeah, the Jericho podcast with Roman Reigns. If you haven't listened to that, check that out. First, it's neat because they're buds. Yeah. And you can tell they're like it's a genuine friendship there, but it's just them hanging out after a show, drinking a couple of beers, and man, it is fantastic. Thank you for reminding me that's who that was. I can't believe I forgot.
That was the lead in to Mania 33, him beating Taker, and people still like, I still kind of like this guy, but it was the height of like people like being down on him. Like, I don't know, but that was when it started to turn for me. I sat down and listened to that show, and it's a dang good one.
It's great. I completely agree, man. And it really is when people talk about the people that would know, like folks in the business that are like, I don't know why they're handcuffing him like that. You really see a lot of his personality come through, and you can see it, man. It's true. It's totally true. And I'm biased as hell towards Reigns for lots of reasons, but I think his promo stuff sucks because everybody's promo stuff in WWE, unless it is Wyndham Rotunda, is crap. Well, I'll take that back. There's one guy. I say this to the man a lot. I'll say it to you guys now because he's so back and forth and I forget about him. I think Kevin Owens is extraordinarily good at like package promos. And hear Kevin say this. He is good, man. That guy, when he's funny, he's funny. When he's supposed to be funny, he's funny. When you need to believe he's going to beat the crap out of somebody, I believe it. If I'm watching him beg off and run away from somebody, I think Steen. I've told the man. I've probably told you guys before too. And this is not like, oh man, it should. I mean to go Dolph Ziggler on behalf of Kevin Owens and be like, it should have been him. But in my fantasy Fire Pro booking, basically everything that has been thrown at the feet of Jon Moxley, it's Kevin Owens for me, man. Don't get me wrong. Like we said, just trying to like take into consideration that these are people that I don't know. So there's a lot of stuff going on I don't know. Owens has kids and loves his kids. So the idea of going off and wrestling in the G1 for 6 weeks might not be his thing. And that's okay. Because when I do it on Fire Pro Wrestling, Kevin Owens can still tuck his kids in at night. And it works out great for all of us, man. Yep. But I cannot imagine how much fun booking those particular matches and what they've tried to do in AEW with Moxley would be if it was Kevin Steen. Oh, God, that would be amazing. Mm-hmm. But I think Steen, like we've talked about before, Owens, sorry. I think that there are guys being happy where they are is totally cool too. And to be fair, it's like I've talked about forever about insurance, travel, things like that. And also, by God, if you have a television studio show, you don't have that problem with travel, do you? Mm-hmm. But anyway, I talk about that because if we're going to war, we're going to take down that Vince McMahon. That's how you do it. Mm-hmm. Simple, period, point blank. You are not going to out-name recognition Vince McMahon. And you're not going to, everyday modern wrestling fan, you're not going to do that. The only way you can do it is to take his damn employees, and how you do that is offer them things that he won't. Mm-hmm. But you don't want to do that. So enjoy being second banana. Now, to be fair, this was something that Corny and Brian were talking about. And I loved Brian's last response because I'm a jerk. But Jared and I've discussed this before. We might have talked about it on the show. The comparison of AEW and NXT is laughable. It is not accurate at all. And the reason I say that is because I think NXT is clearly of like mainstream cable television wrestling. NXT is above all of them by a country mile. And it's because it's the only one of the four that looks different from the other three. That's my problem with AEW. Is, well, they're just trying to be like TNA. Baby, they ain't TNA. TNA in 2003 was awesome. It was fantastic. So they're not there yet. What AEW is WCW. It's literally we're producing the same exact type of television show, and for right now we're doing it better. Mm-hmm. But the problem that I have with that is that I hate Raw. So if you're just a better version of Raw, man, you still suck as far as I'm concerned, man. And I shouldn't say that because there's stuff
it's not really a compliment.
There's stuff on there that I like, but not enough of it for me to keep going in every week to set the recording, man. But NXT, I can't wait for. I get super excited about it, and I'm all like, and it was just, I know I keep going on about that match, but I just turned it on because we've talked about it before, man. It's very fun going in blind, not knowing what you're going to watch. I'm like, let's see what's going on, man. Turned it on, didn't read anything, hadn't seen anything, and it's like, we're going to kick it off with the Cruiserweight title. And Angel Garza comes out, and I'm like, oh my God, this is going to be Garza and Leo. This ought to be great. Oh, man, so cool. And then, like we talked about, I can't believe, I shouldn't say it that way. That sounds negative. I'm thrilled. That's what I'm trying to say. I am thrilled that we are getting Shayna Baszler and Rhea Ripley on free TV. I can't believe it. I can't wait for it. I'm just over the moon. It's going to be awesome, man.
Believe it when I see it.
Oh, man. I don't know what they're going to do. Like I was telling the man, I don't necessarily expect a clean finish, and that's okay because sometimes you got to protect folks.
I smell interference.
yeah. As long as we do it creatively, or just not creatively. Just don't have Shayna ram her head to the cage and then leave. Bye. I believe in you. Bye bye.
See you. It was a TLC pay-per-view tonight. Ooh. If you like those, go watch it. That's the review.
Yeah, it was.
As far as that goes, I hope Charlotte gets stitched up real nice.
Yeah, Charlotte got dinged up real bad today, and it's very frustrating that you can put Charlotte and Becky Lynch, who at one time was literally my favorite women's wrestler, and personality-wise, she probably still is. Let me rephrase that. I mean, outside the ring, I just hate the character they've got her doing now, and now it's spilled over into her in ring work. Because see, that was one of the things about this drives me crazy. Like Ambrose keeps doing that. Yeah, man, hit me harder. Come on, man, hit me. And it's like, you are not big enough to pull. Like I said before, man, you can want to be Goldberg. Goldberg looks like he can pull that junk off. Bill Goldberg is a pretty big guy. Ambrose is not a small guy, but he's not a huge guy, and that's the problem. But even Steve Austin would sell, for God's sake. It's like, man, it just frustrates me when no one sells. I hate it. But that match was very frustrating. Is you got 4 of the best women wrestlers, potentially 3 of the absolute best, and then Becky Lynch. If you will stop telling her to stone cold out, then you got 4, because she's great when she's not doing that. And that match just did not do it for me. I couldn't get into it. It wasn't my thing.
We've had 2 weeks of them just straight up crapping all over.
Sure.
The Kabuki Warriors.
Which is
now I'm supposed to get into it.
Which is all they've done for those chips since anybody's had them. Because Bailey and Sasha never got I think they defended them twice. And then the Iconics defended them once and lost. And it's like, man, y'all, come on now.
And that's it.
That's it.
So that's pretty much our review of the TLC show.
Yeah, I got over late and only saw 2 things. And Miz was in one of them. And I'm just never going to be in Camp Miz. Especially now that everything that's supposed to be great about the Miz, you get it in MJF. And I think MJF's overrated as hell, too, because that promo shit just does not do it for me. But the difference being that once the bell rings, MJF looks like the heel he's supposed to be. You got Miz out there trying to tough guy Bray Wyatt. It's not believable when he does it to anybody. It is ridiculous when he does it to Bray Wyatt. Like, oh, my God.
Yep.
Can't stand that junk. And it's weird how many people still complain about smaller pro wrestlers. Smaller pro wrestlers don't bother me a bit. They only irk me when they start trying to act like they're freaking Kamala. I can't stand that. It's like, man, come on, dude.
Yep.
Stupid. I'm turning into Randy Orton now. And their decision is Kofi. Stupid.
Yeah.
Oh, man, stupid.
So, man, that's the long and short of that show.
Yeah.
That's what's up.
That's it.
Shout out to Danny Aiello. He's circling in the heavens.
Do the right thing, y'all.
It sucked, but, you know, it was one of those kind of things that, like, I was out having dinner at, of all places, the Marietta Diner, and that news broke, and I was like...
I had no idea that Danny had made it to 86.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, I was like, right on, man. That's a good number. I hate it because anytime anybody's gone, it sucks. But that's a great number of years, and
yeah,
I hope
man.
they were rock solid.
Heck yeah, man.
Yeah.
That's what's up. I'll see y'all.